Chapter 6 Day 1, 1300 hours. Cameron desperately pushed his way through the thick vegetation and low-hanging limbs of the forest. He was breathing heavily and his heart was racing from the intense fear. They, whoever they were, had killed Hank. He had only known him for a few hours, but Hank had been the closest thing that Cameron had to a friend on that damn island. As Cameron blindly ran for his life, his foot suddenly struck something. It could have been a rock or a log. All he knew was that it was solid and that it sent him tumbling forward. He yelped and crashed face first into the ground, cursing as he came to a stop. "Fuck all this," he spat. "This can't be real." He closed his eyes and exhaled deeply. He was alone again. The fear of death was all around him. The uncertainty of it all was terrifying. Cameron considered that maybe the game was too hard for him. Maybe it was for the best that he just lie there and wait. Wait to starve. Wait for a bullet to the head. Perhaps death wouldn't be so bad after all. The sounds of nearby twigs cracking and leaves rustling and crunching suddenly snapped Cameron out of his depressing thoughts. He pushed himself up off the ground and took a step to run, but a sharp pain shot up his leg, and he could do nothing but let out a surprised shout and fall forward again. He landed on his knees and looked up just in time to see multiple people emerge from the brush around him. "I found one!" a male voice called out. "Over here!" "Kill him!" another voice returned. "Kill him and keep going!" Before Cameron could argue, bullets ripped through his body. He suddenly felt a terrible, crushing pain as he fell forward, only able to crawl. His breathing became more difficult, and he gasped wildly for air. "Stop!" a deeper voice that demanded attention called out. "He's not one of them." A sudden notification appeared in Cameron's vision. "Party invite. The last 10. Accept?" Everything was happening so fast. Cameron couldn't grasp what was going on. Darkness was closing in on him. Was he dying? He struggled to think. Would it be better to die or to join the party and keep going in this violent and terrifying world? "Accept the invitation, friend," a deep voice encouraged. Whoever it was had an Eastern African accent and sounded direct but kind. "Accept the invitation, and we can save you." Cameron knew he didn't have much time left. The darkness had almost completely enveloped his vision. He couldn't tell if he truly wanted it or if it was his survival instinct kicking in, but he accepted the invite. "Revive him!" the African man urgently ordered. "Heal him! Watch the trees! Be quick!" Cameron felt multiple hands suddenly seize him, and the darkness began to rapidly fade. He felt his life force returning. He was quickly being rejuvenated. After a few seconds, he felt himself being lifted off the ground. "It's okay," he heard a female voice with a Hispanic accent whisper. He could feel bandages being wrapped around his wounds and watched as his HP and then armor began to climb. Eventually, his health was restored and he was able to move on his own again. He looked around at the people surrounding him. They were all fully armored, and each had a long gun, pistol, and melee weapon equipped. They looked like an actual team, and Cameron, for some reason, felt a sense of security among them. "Sorry for shooting you there, buddy," a heavily Southern-accented voice apologetically declared. Cameron felt a hand pat him on the shoulder, and he turned to see a tall, chubby, red-haired man smiling at him. "We thought you was one of the Slayers. You understand, right?" "It's fine," Cameron replied, almost in a whisper. "I'd have done the same." The Southern man smiled warmly and gave Cameron's shoulder another pat. Cameron nodded at him, and then the African spoke again. "Any sign of the Slayers?" he called out. "Nowhere," another voice replied. "They probably went the other direction." "Good." The African walked directly in front of Cameron and placed a hand on each of his shoulders. He smiled and nodded his head. "It is fate that led us to you today, my friend. God smiles upon you. I am Bernard. What is your name?" "Cameron," he replied. "Thank you for saving me." "All praise be unto Allah." Bernard gently nodded and released Cameron from his friendly grasp. "It is a pleasure to meet you, Cameron. Please, accept us all as your new friends. We will protect you, and you will protect us. And may God protect us all." Cameron smiled thinly and nodded in response to Bernard. The people that had taken him in seemed friendly enough. Cameron felt like perhaps his luck had changed. "Let us find cover," Bernard called out, looking at everyone around him. We lost 3 friends in that fight, but gained a new one. We need to rest, to plan our next move. Come, Mr. Cameron, let us all go and make camp." Bernard began walking, and the rest of the last 10 followed. Cameron noticed that a wide variety of people from all over the world made up the party. He found this interesting that so many people from so many cultures could find unity together when the rest of the world was trying to kill them. "Are you okay?" the Hispanic woman who had healed Cameron asked as she ran up alongside him. "You nearly just died." "I know," Cameron said, realizing he probably sounded like a smartass, which was not his intention. "Thank you for helping me back there." "You are welcome," the woman smiled in response. "My name is Maria." "I'm Cameron. Nice to meet you. So, what's everyone's story?" "Same as yours, I imagine," Maria said plainly. "We woke up and fell onto the island. Most of us landed in a city south of here. Did you land there too?" "No," Cameron replied. "I landed in the woods." "Lucky for you," Maria scoffed. "The city was a bloodbath. People were dying like crazy. Bernardo, he found us. He helped us band together, and we found a truck and escaped the city. We drove north into the woods until we couldn't drive any more, and then we walked the rest of the way. We found a few more people, maxed out our squad, and then we found the Slayers and you." "Sounds like a hell of a day," Cameron commented. "I've just been surviving here in the woods. Met a friend, the guy that the Slayers killed back there. We thought the mountains would be safe." "Nowhere is safe on this island," Maria sighed. She glanced around them for a moment and then looked over at Cameron and smiled. "The only way to live is to work together. That is what I have learned so far." The group walked, mostly in silence, for another 20 minutes or so. Bernard led them, hacking his way through the brush with his melee weapon, a machete. "Over here," Bernard announced to the rest of the group. "A cave." Everyone seemed to pick up their pace as they hurried through the entrance of the cave. Bernard stood next to the opening, doing a head count and making sure everyone made it inside. As Cameron walked by, Bernard held out his hand to stop him. "Are you okay, Mr. Cameron?" Bernard asked. Cameron nodded, and Bernard put a hand on his back. He gently pushed forward and guided Cameron inside. The cave was dark, only barely illuminated from the sunlight that shone through the entrance. Bernard took his hand off Cameron's back and seemed to focus on something. After a moment, a burning torch appeared in his hand, and he was somehow able to mount it to the wall. He did this 3 more times until the entire cavern was lit. "How?" Cameron was confused. Bernard seemed to have just manifested torches and wall sconces out of thin air. "What did you just do?" "My friend, my class allows me to create structures, furniture, walls. I am what is called a builder." "A builder?" Cameron repeated thoughtfully. Bernard smiled and gave Cameron a wink, patting him on his upper arm as he walked by and back toward the entrance. "Derek," Bernard called out to the red-headed southern man. "Some wood, if you please." Derek hurried up to Bernard and took off a large duffel bag that he carried on his back. He set it down on the ground, and suddenly piles of wood began appearing around Bernard. "It is easy to be deceived by the ways of this strange land," Bernard commented as he began to focus on the cave's entrance. "We are told to kill, to fight, yet the classes suggest teamwork will yield greater results." The wood began flying into place around the entrance, building a wall and closing everyone in. "Derek is a gatherer. His focus is to find materials for builders to use. Builders and gatherers work together to achieve a goal. So too do the other classes, hunter and tinkerer. The hunter finds ingredients, pelts, metals, and meats for the tinkerer to combine into items that we can use. Without each other, and the support of God, I fear we will never find our true potential." The wall finished building, and Bernard stepped up to it. He ran his hand across it, and suddenly a door appeared. He turned to Cameron and smiled. "Today you take the reins of your life. That is how you must look at it. Even if it is Allah's will for you to die today, you must never give up. Every breath is an opportunity to become new, for every breath gives you new life. Mr. Cameron, can I trust you to never give up, no matter how hard things may seem?" Cameron hesitated. He wanted to say yes, but somehow Bernard left him speechless. How could somebody so genuine and good be in a terrible place like Happy Island? He wondered how any of them had gotten there. "Mr. Cameron?" Bernard gave him a verbal nudge. "Yes." Cameron shook his thoughts out of his head and nodded. "I won't give up." Bernard smiled and walked past Cameron, facing the rest of the group. "We are all in this together, my friends. Do not let our losses distract you from that truth. I will protect you with my last breath, and I ask the same of you for everyone here. We are all precious. We are all created in the image of God. It does not matter what you believe, be it Yahweh, Allah, Jesus Christ, or no God at all. I ask you to search within yourselves and unlock what gives you strength. Use it, become stronger, and survive with us. Only together will we win the day." Bernard turned his head toward Cameron and then back to his party. "This is Mr. Cameron. He is one of us now. Protect him, and he will protect you. Friends, let us better equip him for the journey ahead." Everyone began to rifle through their inventory, and they all stepped forward and began laying things at Cameron's feet. He watched as armor, weapons, and bandages all were laid out before him. When the last person came and went, he looked down and examined the items, sorting the heavy and medium armor out as well as any rifles. Eventually, he found what he felt suited him best. Basic leather headgear, crafted light armor, level 3. Rarity, common, plus 10 armor. Basic layered leather armor, crafted light armor, level 3. Rarity, common, plus 30 armor. Basic layered leather spalders, crafted light armor, level 3. Rarity, common, plus 15 armor. Clapper, pump shotgun, level 4. Rarity, common, 10 to 45 damage. Well-kept machete, melee weapon, level 4. Rarity, common, 15 to 20 damage. Bandage, times 15. Shotgun shells, times 40. Cameron equipped the items he had just received and was pleasantly surprised when he saw what it did to his armor rating. He checked his vitals and noticed that he had somehow minimized his notifications. Health, 100. Armor, 152. Action points, 15. Achievement unlocked. From the brink of death. Congratulations! A fellow party member revived you. Plus 10 experience. Achievement unlocked. Knight in shining armor. Congratulations! You have equipped a piece of armor in every slot. Plus 10 experience. Achievement unlocked. Can maybe survive a fight too. Congratulations! You have raised your armor rating to over 100 points. Plus 10 experience. "Well, would you take a look at you?" Bernard sang as he approached Cameron with a wide smile. "I trust that the armor did you some good." "My armor has doubled." Cameron couldn't hide his enthusiasm. "This is great, thank you." "We do it for the good of the group, Mr. Cameron." Bernard held up a finger and a stern expression appeared on his face. "If you are strong, we can feel confident that you will be able to protect us. The same goes for everybody. If you find gear that you know somebody else can use better than you, make certain you get it in their hands. Do you understand?" "I do," Cameron nodded. "I will." "Very good." Bernard's face returned to a smile. "Now, the time has come for us to feed our friends. You will come with me. We will take Maria, our best hunter, to go find food for everybody." "Hey, Bernie, can I go too?" Derek asked. "I can help." "No, Derek." Bernard maintained his smile but shook his head. "Please, stay behind. Help protect the camp. You have the highest strength of us all. Everybody needs you here." Derek nodded and Bernard faced everyone. "This is where we will camp for tonight. In the morning we will head further north toward the sphere. Everybody can get comfortable. Miss Carey, can you work with Derek to build beds and other comfort items for everyone?" "Sure," Carey, a brown-haired woman of average height, chirped. "I'll get right on it." Maria walked up and joined Bernard and Cameron. Bernard nodded to them and they walked toward the door.